We are live.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Utility Safety and Environment Committee meeting. The first item on our agenda tonight is the approval of the April 7th, 2021 Utilities Committee meeting minutes. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on our agenda is just for discussion. We're not making any decisions tonight, but Mr. Schneider is going to go over the streets, and we can ask any questions and have a conversation. Do you know if Mr. Curtis is coming tonight? I did invite him.
I know he knows about. I thought he was told about it. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. John, whenever you're ready, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. With me tonight, I have Justin Dietz. He's a newer engineer with the city. We hired him 2.5 years ago.
2.5 weeks ago?
2.5 years.
Years.
So he's actually put together the street resurfacing the past 2 years for us. So I figured I'd bring him to council to see, how all the magic happens.
Okay. Hi, Justin. Welcome.
But we did go out. We did rank the list that of streets that were given to us largely by council, as well as through street department, as well as through citizens who have called about their streets in the past as well. So what you should have before you is the full list of what we have right now. I did highlight and that would be this sheet right here. I did highlight all the ones, I believe, on there, and some of, like a couple of 1.5s in one ward because they had very few ones. Just to give you an idea of which streets are out there that are the lowest ranked in your ward, just to kind of help point your eye to those. In front of you, if you have your screens on, as well as the handout, I did do a quick estimate on a lot of the streets that were 1s and 1.5s as far as the highlighted ones so far. I know today you don't want to move forward with setting any streets, but I will ask, if possible, that you give me a good idea of some of the streets that we're going to look to move forward with, because it would be really nice if we could get started on it now, between now and getting it finally approved through council. So we'll just be that much further ahead. I guess with that, we did put in the budget an amount of $1.7 million out of the issue 6 funds to do the street resurfacing this year. So I don't know how you want to attack it all today, but hopefully the information in front of you is helpful. And I guess with that, I open up to council.
So let's just, Mr. Jesse.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I was having a discussion with Mr. Davis about the license plate fees, and I was trying to recall from our discussions. Could you, since you know the exact figures, approximately how much did the license plate fees bring in? And we're using those for engineering fees for other projects, street projects, right?
The license plate tax fee, I believe it brings in roughly $900,000 a year. Of that funds, we use a lot of it for a number of years back. We borrowed money to resurface the Cleveland Street and to resurface State Route 57 on the northern end, as well as State Route 113. So there's portions of that fund that are being used to pay for the city's portion of those ODOT projects, as well as Ohio Public Works. When we borrow money from them, when we apply for funding through Ohio Public Works, there's a portion that we have to pay up front, and a lot of times we do borrow money as well because we get better points that way. So by mixing up our funding, so we utilize the Muni Motor Vehicle Fund for that as well, and we're using it also for the engineering portions, the city's portion, for Cleveland Street as well as East Broad Street. And just so council knows, I mean, there is, I believe there's over $1 million in the fund right now, but just to remind council, in 2 years, we're going to have to put out about $2 to $3 million for construction for those projects as well. So we're trying to maintain a balance in there to help cover the costs of those projects as well. We can apply for Ohio Public Works funds as well, but that would cut down on other projects as well. So right now, it's a balancing act as far as trying to keep some money in there. We are using it for other projects as well. One project that we actually we're talking to the contractor this week was the Fowle Road, the old portion of Fowle Road, which is all gravel. If council remembers when the traffic or the electric poles fell down over there due to the high wind, I believe, or something. They snapped over there, laid across the road. The only way in and out of that whole entire development area was through Old Fowle Road, and it's a non-improved road that is in terrible condition. So we've been in discussions with the contractor to try to fix that up somewhat, and not make it paved.
Isn't some of that road the township as well?
Yes, but about 1,500 feet of that gravel road is ours. So it's our secondary access to that area. So if there is another emergency in the future, that is the only way in and out. So we are using it for small projects like that, as well as we do some crack sealing with some of that funds on the major roads like State Route 57 and things of that nature. Is
the township willing to partner with us on Old Fowle Road?
I did not reach out to them. Their portion is actually in good shape.
Oh, okay.
It's our portion that's in really terrible condition.
It is terrible.
And I don't know if I think it used to be an old dirt road or gravel road, and over the years, street department has kind of maintained it with asphalt grindings. And since then, I don't know if it's getting more use or it's getting more four-wheeler use or what, but they've developed some large potholes out there that we really have to go out there and just take it all off and redo it. And that's going to cost about $25,000 to just take care of that 1,500 feet. And I think it's well worth it because it is an emergency access to that area. So
plus you have that new development out there, and you have another new development going in out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are a lot more residents living out there. So it's definitely something that we need to take care of sooner than later.
Okay.
But yes, we are using those funds for a lot of other projects. It's not necessarily for the street resurfacing, the residential street resurfacing, I guess what we call it right now. Right now, we're using it for a lot of the other projects that we're doing. So.
Okay. So do we want to do this ward by ward? Just one moment, Mr. Oswald. I know, Mr. Jesse, you need to leave, so we can start with your ward. Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. So, John, I don't want to question the way you guys rate these, because I know you've got a very specific, set of parameters that you use. The fantastic thing for me is when I look at what we've been able to do in 5 years, we've addressed, all of the really serious issues. I would like to get Kansas done from Carroll down to California, and it's not rated by your department as a 1, but when I look at just a couple little things on my list, it doesn't add up to very much. And I actually don't think the 3rd ward should take our full portion this year anyway, because wards 1 and 7 have so many needs. But if you could price out for me what it would be, that part of Kansas, and then it takes into account those other intersections that are listed separately here, that's the main project I'd like to get done for the 3rd ward.
Sure.
And you said Kansas what to what?
Kansas to California.
Carroll to California.
Or sorry, Carroll to California.
Carroll to California.
And then it includes almost all of those intersections are bad, and they're ranked here, each one individually, but if you do that, it would take care of all of those on Kansas, and then there's a couple off of Defiance.
So are you willing, Mr. Jesse, to give up Defiance and Sandpiper?
Those are just little.
Okay.
Like I said, I'd like to see, when they get a chance, if they could price out Kansas from Carroll to California, including those intersections, and then hopefully it's under what, if we take the pie and cut it into 7 slices, hopefully it's less than that.
Okay.
And then I think some of that extra money should go to wards 1 or 7.
Okay. We'll see how that shakes out.
So anyway, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and take off, but thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Mr. Oswald, you had a question?
Through you, Madam Chair, I guess I was going to piggyback on Mr. Jesse's comment I believe last year the gas tax went up that we pay. And, of course, at that time, our gas prices went down, and now they're coming back up. Are we seeing any more money from the state tax on our gas and that would supposedly go for roads?
Through you, Madam Chairman, you are correct. The gas tax did go up, but it largely was held by the state, and they use it and they do help fund the MPOs, which helps fund the Cleveland Street and the East Broad Street. So that's really where that is going toward more so. I don't believe we see any more than that, but I could make a call to ODOT to see if our contacts down there know exactly, but it's probably out of central office that would know more so, which I don't have a direct contact with, but we could reach out and try to find out.
And I guess I was just curious because here again, it's just a little extra money, and sure, if it goes to help funding, the Broad Street project, and I get how you have to divide that, but was just curious. Thank you.
Thank you. So if we start at Ward 1, Broad Street is getting done from what to what?
East Broad Street is being done from essentially Abbey Road to East Bridge Street. Actually, I have to believe all the way up to Cedar because of the lights. So Cedar Street to Abbey Road south is East Broad Street.
So a lot of these that Mrs. Keys has, Concord, Clark to Broad, are those going to be like Kipling, Broad to Clark, Winkles, Clark to Broad? Are those going to be the Broad portion? Is that going to be included in that, or?
No. And the East Broad Street project probably will not start until 2023.
Okay, I think I knew that. Thank you. Okay. So Mrs. Keys has a lot of ones. She has a lot of ones. So we can shake that out when we do the money portion, but the ones really, we start with the ones because those are the worst of the streets.
I did talk with Councilwoman Keys on Monday, and she did give me a couple of streets that she wanted to make sure that, and I told her I didn't believe we were going to having legislation, but she did have a few streets that she wanted me to make sure. I believe it was Lexington and Concord were two of her top streets right now, but where she would go from there, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Like I said, we'll see how the money shakes out. Okay. Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I want to know how much would Apple Street cost?
Where's that?
It's on my master sheet. On the master sheet, but not on the surfacing sheet. The rank is ranked 1.5 at the top. I just want to know how much.
Unfortunately, I have not done Apple Street yet. It is a small street, so
Right.
I don't see it taking a lot. It is it is a street that's largely non-improved, that's narrow, it doesn't have curbs, but to resurface it, I wouldn't think it would be too costly. Probably in the $30,000 range, I'm just off the top of my head.
Well, I really would like to add Apple Street because it's the 1.5, and I really would like to have that one done along with Belmont from Furnace to Bell. My question with that one is that concrete or is that asphalt that's going to be done? Because the street is concrete now, and we did the other end of Belmont to Furnace, and we blacktopped it. So is this blacktop or is this concrete?
The estimate that I have developed is based off of asphalt right now.
Okay.
Just so council's aware, a lot of the estimates that I put together right now are from my desk and my desk only. So I'm largely looking at the lengths, the widths, looking at what Google Earth can provide me. I haven't been in the future, I mean, when we go to actually design the project, we will go out into the field more, measure things up more so we have exact measurements of what we plan on doing out there. So this is just an engineer's estimate from the seat of my desk at this time. So I would say it's pretty representative, but.
Okay, so Belmont from Furnace to Bell and Apple Street, Beechwood, this not that much, Shatton.
Okay. That's not that expensive.
No. And I really don't think, like you said, Apple's going to be that much, because it is a small street. But do I have some money left over?
You owe the bank some.
Oh, I got to get it.
Mrs. Davis, you have on your list West River Road, Furnace to State Route 50.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I thought that was part of a project.
Yeah, me too.
The West River Road portion to resurface was only from 5 Points to Lake Avenue.
Where?
Was from 5 Points to Lake Avenue last year. Because the reason why we resurfaced the road was really because the sewer was in the middle of the road. It wasn't because of the water main project itself. It does cross the road there, and it is in pretty bad shape, and I would love to resurface it to make that rest of that area nice. But unfortunately, the resurfacing from 5 Points to State Route 57 was not included in the project. Because we didn't replace the sewer in the middle of the road. The southern end was paid for by the sewer fund because we had to replace the sewer in the middle of the road.
Oh, well, they not get, okay. Well, so we put in Apple, approximately, and then, so how much is that? We need another small project. So the cheapest one is Brace from Adam to the railroad track.
So right now you have Apple, Beechwood, and Belmont, and then now you want to put Brace in there? I would say if you averaged out the amount we have, it would be around 242,000 per ward.
Per board?
Yeah, right now you're at 180, which.
Oh, okay, so.
So if you had an Adams, it would probably get you around close to 242. Or High Street, I'm sorry, Adams and Lorraine.
Okay. Ooh, did I go over? Couple dollars, couple thousand.
Mr. Jesse said that he would like to see, just Kansas, California to Carroll. So if it's okay with him, we could take the rest of those out.
He said he wanted all the little ones too, I thought.
Oh, yeah, he did
All
say
the
that.
little ones,
All the
yeah.
little, they're not, okay.
No, yeah, they're not much.
They're not big, okay.
40, so they only about 60,000.
Is that it, Mrs. Davis? Okay, Mr. Oswald, you only have 2 streets on here, but they're expensive.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, mine's not gonna be so easy because, what we've got on John's list right now, because I've got a lot of concrete. It's not a lot of paving. I got a lot of intersections, and I've got, intersections at Hemlock to Timber Lane. I've got Hamilton Circle that needs concrete cut out. I got an inside curve over on Randall and Nash. Winthrop is real bad. I need basic concrete patchwork, which I know it's hard for John to do these because it's easier to do a lineal stretch, but my streets are so botched up that I don't need to spend all that money. So somehow or another, we got to figure out how I can get some of my money to pay a sub or do some concrete work so I can interject that instead of doing the paving. Because
Okay, your money goes to what it goes to? You don't get more money than anybody else with your award?
No, but let's just say that I've got 109,000 that I just want to do that, right now, what's on the list. Let's just say that I do, North Pasadena, which would be Randolph to Berkshire. Okay, so now I got a balance of, 100 and let's say 33,000. Well, I want to be able to see if we can take that 133,000 and either in-house do concrete patchwork, rip out and replace, or get a sub. But I don't have streets that are just constant paved, and so we got to figure out where I can get my streets fixed also, but I don't need that toll of road. So that's a dilemma that I'm in. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Snyder, you want to address that? I mean, can you, I understand the streets are concrete, which is expensive. Can you patch it with asphalt and save some money? That won't look good, but it'll be done.
Patching with asphalt concrete doesn't work well.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very temporary. The best thing to do would be, as Mr. Oswald's saying, is cut the concrete out, which we've done in the past. If you want to give me a dollar figure, or an award, I can take care of a lot of concrete patches in different areas. I mean, it's not a problem.
Is that something that we can do in-house, or we need to bid out?
Good question. I know the street department has done some of that in-house. The volume probably would be a little higher than what they're used to if they're doing all their other duties. If it was like a patch here, a patch there, probably, but.
Okay. But we can bid it out if we need to, like, say, the Rikers or whomever.
Yes. I mean, we could do a separate contract. We could do it part of the same contract. We could do it many different ways. It's just,
Okay.
as long as I have directions as far as how you want me to proceed, that's not a problem.
Can you get us pricing on doing that? Or give us an estimate on doing just the patchwork for Mr. Oswald's award?
I can. It'll just take me more time. That's the only issue I have, which, you have to go out, when you do the concrete work, you're actually going out there physically and you have to measure every piece you're going to cut. It's not a problem. It just takes more time. That's all I'm saying.
And we do want to get started on this, so what's the alternative?
We could just do the asphalt separately. You do a dollar figure, and I could hold back for the concrete streets. If there's other streets in concrete, we could do those separately and under another contract. This way you're getting, there are contractors out there that just do asphalt largely, and there's contractors out there who just do concrete. So splitting them out is not a problem. It's just having a dollar figure associated. That's all I need.
You cool with that, Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Madam Chair, that'd be great, and I wouldn't mind working with Mr. Snyder also, so we can find exactly what we need, so we don't overdo it, but we want to make sure we get the project done. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sher, I saw you had your hand up.
Through you, Madam Chair, I was just going to address the question about the patching, not necessarily concrete, but that would be one of them. but asphalt. So, John, we've talked in the past about Wilder. There's a section that's like 4 houses long right off of Georgetown that's terrible, but the rest of the street's in pretty good shape. But when I check with the street department, apparently that's more than what we can handle. Is that something that we can farm out? I mean, to say a Reichert or somebody?
We can. The problem is, every time you pick a piece of machine up and you move it, there's a lot of man hours standing around watching that piece of machine move. So if you do too small of a project, you're gonna pay a higher price for your asphalt. And typically, just normal experience, if the street was all paved in the same year, the useful life of the rest of it is probably not far behind it. So to leave it, we might be back in 2 years to do the rest of it. It's just one of those things that it's difficult to look at and just not do it all sometimes because of that, or at least go to do a larger portion of it, because this way we are getting our more bang for our buck with the asphalt. But can it be done? Yes. It's just it can lead to the expense going up. Yes.
Obviously, I'm not, an engineer.
Now, if we had another street next to it, like right there, they'll drive right up and do it. That's not expensive, but you kind of need almost like a reason to be there to do the smaller ones. And I wish they had just tacked it on when they did the Georgetown, but it unfortunately was overlooked.
Yeah, because it seemed driving it, when I did my drive, the rest of the road seemed like pretty good shape, 3, 5, 6 years down the road.
Yeah.
But in order to do that one section, we're gonna have to do the whole road.
We could take a look, like I said, give our opinion as far as whether the rest of it needs it or not, or maybe there's a good stopping point somewhere. Because another thing we like to do when we do roads, we like to try to start and stop at catch basins.
Sure.
This way we know when the contractor's done, it should drain, and he has no reason to say, well, it was poorly draining before, or it didn't drain before. We're giving him a place to drain it. So those are some of the things we like to look at when we pick areas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sierra. Mrs. Simmons? Can you turn your mic on, Diane, please? Thank you.
Okay, my question is, why is Chestnut Lake Avenue III mentioned twice? 2 separate figures.
Because we have a typo.
They'll take the smaller figure.
It should be Broad the Third and Lake to Broad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I believe it was Lake the Third and Third to, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Lake to Broad and Broad to Third?
Let me check this real quick.
That's what you have on the master, John.
Yeah, you got Lake to Third.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pull that. I don't know if I can pull this up or not. It's a Corey question.
Do you need to get to your shared drive again, Mr.
I
Schneider?
just need to get on, I was looking to get on the county auditor's website.
Okay, you're good. Go ahead. You're good.
I want to just do a quick measure of why it's the same. So originally, I believe I had it broken down into multiple sections, but the one of these is correct. believe the top one is the correct one, so it's 166 to do the whole thing. At one time, I was trying to narrow it down because I know sometimes council looks at a street and they see one that's really big price tag and they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket, so they break it down into multiple sections. So I believe that's what happened there. So I believe the 166 is the correct one, and this other one is gone now. So if you wanted to break it down in smaller sections, I can do that. If you're looking to not do a large chunk of your ward dollars on one street or not. The whole road is bad, I do know that.
Right, yeah.
So the Chestnut Street, the 203,000, is that dollar amount out?
It's gone.
It is gone, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so I still
Ms.
got
Simmons, go ahead.
203,000 more. So it's the 166, not the 203.
Yes.
Okay, so that means does that mean I can add other streets?
You would have, if you went by the 242, roughly 80,000 left. So you could probably put 13.
So this
16.
Forest Street, is that off of Parkview Court?
No. I thought Forest Street was done last year. Something's been off on this today.
Okay, so I got money.
We did Forest Street last year, didn't we? I believe that was done last year. I did some I made some changes right before I came down, and I saved it all, and when I came down here, it wasn't the exact one that I had.
So I don't see Forest Street on the master. Where is Forest Street at?
Down behind Parkview Court. That's when it was added to me last year.
Yeah.
It belongs to 5.
Yeah.
That's the one that's right off of Parkview Court.
Right off run into Cafe.
Yes.
It's on the back side.
The back
On the
side.
backside.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did that one already.
So we did that last year, John?
I believe we did.
Yeah, because I'm down there in the
If I
Okay,
have,
so Mr. Simmons, we can take that off if you like.
Okay, and add
That's
something else.
$20,000. So that gives you a little extra money.
Can we do Tannery Street?
Thank you, Carmen. We did do Forest Street last year. It's on the 2020 list.
yeah.
We did it last year. And Ms. Simmons, thank you. Oh, thank you. What street did you want to add?
Tannery. And also I have a question
But
about.
you have, Tannery's a 1.5, and you have some ones, but you're looking at the price, the dollar amount, I'm sorry, okay.
So when it says, possible future OPWC for Fuller, what does that mean?
Later on this year, I'm going to have to apply for Ohio Public Works funds, and we have certain streets that we'd like to try to apply for. They're usually the larger streets, they're kind of a collector streets, because you get better scoring for those. With the incoming infrastructure funds, I was looking at this right before I came down. The 3 of the 4 streets that I have, which are on that sheet, that show possible Ohio Public Works projects next year, which is not on this for some reason. We were looking at Hilliard, Chestnut Ridge, and Overland Elyria Road. So if we do end up getting funds from the federal government for infrastructure, one of the requirements typically you get, which we have no rules yet this time, is it has to be on the federal highway. It has to be a federal highway street, and so Hilliard, Chestnut, and Overland Elyria Road are on the federal highway list. Fuller is not. So it was one of those things we were looking at for possibly next year, applying for Ohio Public Works, because we're gonna need some, figure out what streets next year, or later on this year, where we're gonna apply for next year. So, that's the reason why I put it there. It's because I know it's one of those streets, it was a better candidate than some other streets.
Doesn't Oberlin and Elyria Road run through the township?
It does, we would stop at the railroad tracks.
Okay.
Unless they wanted to participate, which we have done, like the Lowell Street project, we're partnering with the county as well, so if they wanted to join us, then it would become a nice project.
So no Fuller this year then, right?
I'm not saying you can't, I'm just saying it was one of those projects I looked at for next year because it was a good candidate. If you want to do it this year, once again, it's one of those ones that's a bigger dollar because of the size of the road.
How much is Fuller Road if Mrs. Simmons wanted to add that?
Yeah. Because we took off,
It's going to be expensive one, I can tell you right now, because it is long. And I don't probably have it on my list down here of ones I've done in the past. Yeah, I can price it out for, I'm assuming next Wednesday.
I'm sorry?
Are we going to meet next Wednesday for?
If that's okay with everybody, and you can have the pricing.
Yeah, I can
Is that okay with
develop an
everyone
estimate
next
for forward.
Wednesday?
yeah.
Is
So,
that okay with everybody?
Would that be another discussion or an actual
No,
vote?
we're gonna actually,
Try
we'll do
to come to
the-
an agreement? Yeah.
we'll do the thing.
so if we can't do Fuller, do I still have another street that could be done?
Yeah, 13th West of Bank is not expensive. It's a one.
If you have some other ones like Tannery Street you mentioned, I can price that out for next Wednesday as well.
If I have what?
If you would like Tannery Street, if you'd like me to price that one out, I
Yes,
can do that.
please.
For next Wednesday as well.
Is that it, Mrs. Simmons?
Yeah, can you price out 13th Street from West of Banks, so we could,
I do have that one at right around 40,000.
oh, okay. So,
And remember, even though that we're going to the 440 or 242, we are going to want alternates as well, in case prices come in
Right.
good.
So you can have a street that could be an alternate. It just depends on what the bids come in at.
oh, okay,
Okay.
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 So Tannery was 1.5, so what's George?
Nothing for streets.
So the next one will be George, if that's,
Huh?
you can price out George Street and Tannery.
Okay.
Okay. And Mr. Snyder will have that next Wednesday for us?
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Sarah, I'm gonna let you go ahead of me, so you're not always last, sir.
Thank you. I guess I need to drive a couple of these streets again because my thoughts were a little bit different than your list. Hawthorne from Poplar to Sycamore. You've got it down on the main sheet as 1.5. I don't know if that's right, but I definitely would like to get a price on that one.
Hawthorne from,
Poplar to Sycamore.
okay.
And then the other one I'd like to get a price on is Wesley, Cleveland Street to Route 57. That one was horrible as well. And then on Hollywood, would there be any way to do that like in halves? Is there a good place to cut that or not?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I would have to go back and look at it.
I would like to get Hollywood done, but I would like to find, when we find out about the, cost on Hawthorne and Wesley before I pick the other ones.
Is that it, Mr. Sarah?
That's it for now, yeah? So
Okay.
you can get some prices. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Snyder, I would like the intersection of Cortland and Penfield done for sure, because that's really in bad condition. And then, Mussey Road headed east from the railroad tracks to the bridge.
The concrete repairs? I know we did some of them last year, but the amount of
Just
money
some
that
patching.
we put in there, I don't think it was enough.
Yeah, can we
So
do-
we can do that as part of the other concrete.
Okay, okay. And then, I'd like all of mine done, because it's a small amount, so yeah. Is that good? Mine are all small, so,
Will we doing all years?
yes, sir.
Okay, so we are gonna do the foul roads, and so the ones that we have in green right now, you're looking at
Yes.
high, I'm not saying we're gonna do them yet, but they're high on the list right this second, so when we can start working on those type of things.
Okay.
Okay.
And when are they gonna start Lowell Street from, the bridge to 113?
I believe the contractor stated he was gonna start that in July. The contractor is Kokosing, who is right there,
Okay.
literally on Lowell Street, so.
Yeah,
We
literally.
we got some really good pricing on that one.
Great,
So,
okay. And so that project, from the bridge, on Lowell Street, from the bridge to 113, is the county, the city, and, the township. Everybody's paying a share of that,
Oh,
so,
okay.
awesome.
I have not, just so council's aware, I still have not received confirmation from Ohio Public Works this year's projects. We have 3 submitted right now. I believe we're gonna get all 3, and that's Burns Road, Gulf Road from the wastewater plant north to Winbrook, and
Abbey Road?
Abbey Road from 57 to Cleveland Street. That's not Abbey Road South, though. So, just so you're aware.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Snyder?
I do.
Mr. Sarah?
The prices that we talked about on those streets, is that something you can email to me
Sure.
prior to Wednesday so I can make my
Sure,
decision?
yeah, not a problem. Hopefully I'll have them done before Friday,
All right,
so,
thank you.
Great. So we'll plan on meeting again next Wednesday at 6, and we'll actually pick our streets and go from there. We good?
Yes, I'm good. It gives me a good starting point, so I'm happy.
Okay. Anybody, no questions, anybody?
Oh, I got one question.
Mr. Simmons?
I got a concern about Chapman Lane. The Grenadier, which is right there at the corner of West Avenue and Chapman Lane. If, the first 2 parking spots, like the road isn't, something's wrong. The road isn't wide enough, like you have to wait
It's always
until
been
one
like that.
car goes by for another one.
Okay.
Is that something that can be looked into? Because that's kind of weird. That does,
At one time, I believe those roads were private somehow. And the width of the right-of-way out there is, I don't know if there is any additional right-of-way to do anything. I'd have to look at it again off top, and this is all just going off the top of my head. I just know there's something unusual about that, but I believe when it was built, it was originally a private road.
But it's always been it was always 16th Street.
Yeah,
So it was always a city street, I'm pretty sure. I've been
Yeah,
going
just reading-
down the street all my
I guess why we
life,
have
so.
this. And maybe I'm not thinking the right exact.
Right, Diane, that's always been a city street.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
think when Grenadier, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, when they added that parking lot, they ate into the width of the road, I think. Because that parking lot was not there when Mitchell's was there, was it?
You're saying,
Was it? I don't remember that far back.
you're
I don't remember that
saying
far.
this area here is too narrow?
Yes. What happens is if someone's headed, east and somebody's coming west, you gotta stop. Somebody has to stop so the
Yeah.
other person can get through. It's real narrow.
If cars are parked at the Grenadier.
If
Right.
cars are parked at the Grenadier, yeah. But it's like their parking lot extrudes too far in the street.
Right. Like they've, I don't know,
But I
they've
don't
taken some,
Yeah, the road's 20 feet, that's one of those, yeah, obviously it doesn't meet today's standards. But I see what you're saying,
Yeah, it's like the parking lot comes out too far. Cause huh?
so they're probably overhanging the curb line that should be there.
That parking lot was there when Mitchell's was there? In the front part, I think, and in the back part, but not in the front. Yeah, that's what I mean. His mother Malloy's house was there.
Oh. Just looking at the county auditor's website, it looks like their parking lot is totally in the city right of way. I don't know how that was ever established.
So what can we do about that other than to tell, I mean,
But here's the one thing though first, then if they're on our city property, didn't do a job. You didn't do our job.
cause it's not paved.
Because it's not, it's not going over for them.
That's right.
So we did that
Right,
when we had that pavement, that
right.
we missed,
Cause the parking lot is not paved in any way.
so it's not paved, it's just gravel, so we missed that.
Right.
Yeah, one of the issues when I, just looking at it overall, is you look at the curb and where the curb line on West Avenue is, it actually, it kind of gives you the illusion that there's a parking lot there, and I don't know why it was done that way or how it was ever constructed, obviously before my time. Is it something that we could look at and, sure, I don't know what the business that's on the corner there, how it's gonna affect them, but we could have discussions with them if that's what council wishes. Or maybe they need to change their parking, instead of parking perpendicular to the road, they park parallel, which keeps them out of the curb line area, but they might only get 2 spots out of it or something, or maybe it's an angle parking or something that could help reduce them sticking out into the roadway, if that's the problem. But, yeah, that's an unusual one that, and the city does have some, in the ordinances, there's a committee for, tree lawn parking committee, and that consists of, I believe, the service director, the engineer, and the chief of police, which, since I've been engineer, has never met. It's one of those things, you only meet when there's an issue, maybe that's something we need to discuss, or we bring before the rules committee, and the rules committee would want to, discuss what we do there. But
I have a question, through you, Madam Chair, I have a question. So, Mr. Snyder, what we see drawn here with the red broken lines here, so are you saying that that's the Grenadier property where the line is?
this red line is,
That's their property?
represents the right of way.
Huh?
That represents the public right of way.
Right, okay, so then the parking spaces that are there, do they belong to the city and they just using them?
They're parking within the city right of way. Right of way is for everybody.
Oh, okay.
It isn't technically owned by anybody, but, the city does manage it for the residents. So, I mean, technically, you could put a sewer there, you could put a water line there, you could put a telephone pole there, because it's public right of way. It's accessible to all.
So do we want Mr. Snyder to look into that? Okay, if you don't mind, please.
Okay.
John, thank you.
Will do.
Okay, anything else? Seeing nothing, I will entertain a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Good night, everybody.